What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Braggin Rights. This is the Premodern show where we're not playing for any stakes, just for fun and, well, some bragging rights. This match is going to be pretty sweet, so I'm not going to take up too much time. Let's get into the decks. First up, we have, well, me. I'm playing this sweet Suicide Black list that is actually splashing green, and I didn't come up with this brew. I found it on the Premodern Discord. I actually couldn't find who made it, but their name for this was Broccoli Soup. And first off, love the name. Second off, it lets you play cards like Drinker of Sorrow, which is a 3-drop 5/3 that can't block, and whenever it deals combat damage, sacrifice a permanent. So the green splash is super important here because you can play Rancor. Not only do you give that big beater trample, but you can sacrifice Rancor and be able to replay it next turn on the Drinker of Sorrow and just have a repeatable way to get through massive amounts of damage. Besides that, it's a pretty standard Sui Black list with Carnophages, the Sacromancies, Nantuko Shade, Skittering Scourges, a couple of Cursed Scrolls, and a one of Karavek Spite in the main board, which has honestly won me quite a few games, especially when they stall out. In the sideboard, nothing too crazy. The green lets us splash Naturalize, which is pretty great. We also have Tempting Worms, which for those control matchups or those creature light matchups could be really valuable in speeding up the clock. And my opponent today is going to be David on his Tireless Flashback brew. You may have seen this in last week's video. If you haven't, make sure to check it out. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. But this deck is primarily a flashback control deck that does have a potential turn to win with Tireless Tribe, which is a 1-drop creature with discard a card from your hand. Tireless Tribe gets +0/+4 till end of turn. And About Face, which is an instant for a red, switch target creature's power and toughness till end of turn. And that has some additional rules text that really affects the stack. But basically, if he has Tireless Tribe out and an About Face in hand and no blockers on the field, he could potentially be swinging in for lethal damage as early as turn 2. Besides that, he's got ways to get cards in the graveyard with Quiet Speculation. He has some Deep Analysis, Prismatic Strands, Ray of Revelation, some Cunning Wishes. He has got a Cunning Wish sideboard, and Roar of the Worms for his flashback package. As for the Cunning Wish sideboard, lots of just really good utility cards like Coffin Purges. He has one of the About Faces in the sideboard as well. The big thing, though, is Defy Gravity, which also has flashback, is a 1 instant that gives target creature flying until end of turn. Overall, a super cool list, and of course I have to say how beautiful it looks because it is mostly foil. So without further ado, let's get into the games. And here we go, guys, kicking off with game number 1. Again, this is just going to be a for fun match. We don't got tournament stakes on the line here. And it looks like I'm going to be on the play. Suicide Black really is just about those first initial turns, trying to get a fast start. And Sacromancy is one of the ways to do that. That is a 1-drop enchantment that gives me a 2/2 zombie. We got a little bit of reader here. And if I don't have a zombie on my upkeep, I take 1. There's only one other zombie in the deck, and that is Carnophage. So it is potentially possible to take a lot of damage from this if there's a lot of board wipes and creature removal. But that Sacromancy enchantment is also an excellent target for Drinker of Sorrow, and looks like we got an early Swords. Looks like David didn't necessarily have the turn 2 win in hand, or at least he's playing a little bit safe. And there's my other zombie, Carnophage. Now, important to note, Carnophage does have me take a point of damage at the beginning of my upkeep anyways, so it doesn't really help too much with the Sacromancy trigger. Ooh, we got a Tireless Tracker out. Or not Tireless Tracker, whatever the Tireless guy is. I'm already blanking out his name. And a bird. Alright, we are ramping. And I think only 3 cards in hand? No, 4 cards in hand for David. Still, gotta be aware of that. Each card potentially being equal to 4 additional damage. Hey, and we got a Drinker of Sorrow out. One of my favorite cards to add into this new Suicide Black list. Just also a gorgeous old border foil. I'm partial to all of the black old boar foils. Actually, just all old boar foils in general are pretty great. And interestingly, not swinging in with the Carnophage, maybe just holding up a blocker in case he does have a big swing coming, because that Drinker Sorrow can block. And David thinking here. I believe he does have... Okay, so he's gonna go get some flashback cards in the grave. Speculation. Grab some draw spells. The deep analysis. Is he gonna get a Roar of the Worm here? Prismatic Strands, try to put some damage. That's good. He pulled a Roar of the Worm to the front. I don't think he's seen any green, so as far as he knows, this is just a straight black Sui list. And yes, looks like he put a Roar of the Worm in and is going to shuffle up. Alright, cool. So we really need to start the beatdown. We'll finish the beatdown before that worm comes out, because I do have some removal in the deck, but for the most part, it all hits me. Alright, looks like we got another birds. And a pass. Taking one more damage off of that Carnophage. Yep, that thing's pinging me every turn. Not the best. But it is a 2/2 for 1, so, you know, what are you gonna do? Alright, now we got some green mana up. And I'm still gonna hold up a blocker, which might not be the best idea. Drinker of Sorrows trigger on the stack. Because it dealt combat damage, I get to sack the Sarcomancy. And looks like probably just a Call the Herd coming up, right? Yep. Alright, we got to Call the Herd, get a 3/3. Now, I think this was a mistake to not attack with the Carnophage. Just to get a little more damage through, especially if I knew I was playing out an elephant next turn, or the next main phase. But we are putting real pressure on David. He's having to think through his plays a little bit. He did waste that swords pretty early. I don't know if waste, but use the swords pretty early, just to get rid of that zombie token. But I think... Let's see, 4 cards in hand. He does have a way to flash back for 3 life to get more options in hand. It's either a good sign or a bad sign he's waiting this long. And it looks like he's just going to play out the... Gosh, what is that? Is it blue and red or one cheaper? Blue and green. Flashback, the deep analysis. Take 3, draw 2. This is pretty good. He has another blocker up. If I could draw a Rancor here, that might be a real problem for him, though. And he's just gonna pass. Still taking a point for the Carnophage. Don't get to remove that trigger just yet. Looks like I have another Call the Herd and 2 lands. We'll play out a mine. And this is what I should have done last turn, is just swing with everything, because I know I can get an elephant back to block. But a lot of damage coming through here.
Okay, I just gotta think for a moment.
I'm interested what I'm gonna sack to the Drinker of Sorrow too, because it just has to deal combat damage. It doesn't necessarily need to damage an opponent for that trigger. It's just combat damage in general. But this is lethal coming in, so he's gonna have to block at least one thing. Or at least have an answer for something.
Okay. I'm just gonna block here.
Alright, looks like we're gonna block the Carnophage. And oh, he's got a prismatic strand. Naming black, so he'll still take 3. To be honest, I did actually forget that he had that in the graveyard to flash back. Tap in some mana here. What's the right way to do this? Green for another Call the Herd. And unfortunately I just got 1 token, so leaves the back of another token. And another 2 mana. Oh, okay, so an Nantuko Shade. So I did have a couple of creatures. Okay, so we got 2 blockers up. I think I oh, that's right. Drinker Sorrow did not deal combat damage thanks to Prismatic Strand, so I didn't have to sack anything. I didn't mess up that. Thankfully. Alright, looks like he's got a layer to bounce. And he's gonna Cunning Wish. Grabbing... Uh-oh, this is not good for us. Grabbing the Flight spell from his sideboard. And it's gonna give one of the guys flying. First, he's gonna do the activation to make sure this guy gets pumped up on power, not toughness. Discard 1, 2. I think you gotta do all 4, right? 3, 4. Alright. So 16 coming in, plus his regular +1, so 17 exacts, and he's gonna be able to give it flying. I'm just rereading these just to make sure, but I'm sure David has it. So that is a 17-1 flyer coming in for exactly lethal, and that is gonna be game number 1. And here we are in game number 2. That win came out of nowhere. Going from 17-0 is what I'm talking about. This deck can just take you out. But thankfully, we've got at least one more game. I imagine I sideboarded in some more creature removal just to get around that very Voltron kind of approach. David does have counter spells, though, and there is some graveyard interaction in my sideboard as well, and I wonder if I brought that in for those flashbacks. But I think a little bit more removal makes sense. But we don't want to over sideboard. This deck, Sui Black, is definitely one that gets worse with over sideboarding. Ooh, we're going to Dark Ritual, a Sarcomancy, and a Carnophage. That's not too bad. 4 power on the board. Turn 1. Alright, he's got the tracker up. And I feel like at this point I should just kill it on site if I have it, but I don't think I do. So I should have taken a point of damage from the Carnophage there. Hopefully I catch that. And trying to decide what my attacks are going to be. Ooh, this is pretty risky. I'm betting on him not having it. Swing for 4. Although I do think this is kind of right. If he has it, then he has it. But I don't win a long game, I imagine. There's too much interaction on his board, too many ways to stall things out to assemble his combo. Unless I have a way to remove the creatures in hand, which I don't think I do. We have snuff outs in the deck, Alright, just swinging in for one. Gonna play out a blocker. Okay. Never take a point. I'm forgetting my own triggers, guys. I'm sorry. This was a little bit later in the night. Alright, we're gonna bounce a land to hand. This is why I put dice on my deck too, just to remember the upkeep trigger, because I get kind of bad at it. But if I remember correctly, I don't think it's gonna matter either way. Alright, we're gonna go call the herd, use that one floating black. Play out an elephant.
Is there one floating? Not anymore, but there was. Yeah, there was.
And probably just swing in. Oh, I remember it finally. Alright, go to 3. I mean, we're still technically at 17, and there's the dice going on there to remind me. Swinging in for 2. It's a little bit risky, but again, we got to play fast and loose. Ooh, and I think he just drew his combo piece. This is probably bad. He doesn't have a red yet, so there's at least that. Alright, I'm just gonna untap. Take 1, technically at 16. And probably at this point I just keep it aggressive, keep swinging in. I think I have another caller in hand, so I should really only attack with 2 here. Nope, okay, we're going balls to the wall. Take 7. And, yep, get another elephant. This is where a Karavik Spite would have been absolutely clutch. Granted, he's got enough mana open for a counterspell, but alright, we're gonna Cunning Wish, and now I'm realizing my mistake and grab his combo piece. So he didn't have it in hand, but with 2 attackers and only 1 blocker open to me, this game is potentially over. He's got 5 cards in hand, or 6. Oh, needs the red source. Gonna tap for both. I have to block 1. And he'll just use it on the other one. And he has 4 cards in hand and is exactly 7. Technically I was at 16, so I was dead anyways, but that is game number 2. And that, again, just shows how quickly this deck can get you. Obviously, I should have left up an extra blocker. That was a mistake on my part, not respecting the combo in the deck. But great games. Good job, David. And yeah, thank you to everyone for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. We've got a bunch more of these Braggin Rights for fun matches saved up. And the next tournament starts on the 28th. So give me a few days after that before we get new Premodern Portland monthly paper magic up on the channel. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.